Hello, happy people. I hope you're having just an absolutely amazing day and that this YouTube post finds you super well. All right, so for me, I wanted to do for my serial Saturday that I dedicate to the forgotten storytelling genres of the serial, like TVs in this case, or movies like Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers or Tarzan, that sort of thing. So let's check it out for you folks. And this is going to be the last one in the second season of Doctor Who. From the first Doctor era, from 65, it's called the Time Meddler. Let's start off with it. Alright, so this is as a reminder, in case you're a noob, my Doctor Who fandom. I'm 76. I'm 76. That's very old. I'm 46, but 48 rather. But I was born in 76, and so Tom Baker was the Doctor back when I was a kid. Being grown up in southern West Virginia, watching the PBS station, I saw his Robots of Death with little Leela, and K9 loved it lots. Finished it, thought it was creepy. Thought the effects were super great, loved it. And then I started following him along. And so I watched him to his regeneration and death, and regeneration with Peter Davison into the fifth Doctor. He became my favorite Doctor. Loved him lots. The Doctor of my childhood. And then after he died, I saw the first season of the sixth Doctor, and then they went on the 18-month hiatus, and that was the ratings were still super strong on our PBS station. So we wound up just moving to the black and white era. They just picked up or they left off with An Earthly Child. So I saw it and stuff, and then the first Doctor became my first Doctor. He's still my favorite Doctor to this day. And so I actually saw this on TV first before I saw it later. So just a heads up. Also, because the ratings were so strong, like I mentioned earlier, they would typically, when they in that seasonal giving to this PBS station, they would typically run a lot of Doctor Who stuff, and they would also have you vote in to choose. I remember once when I was watching a PBS station, you could call in and vote either for Vengeance for Vardos or the if I remember correctly, it was the Twin Dilemma, his debut as a sixth Doctor. And your vote wasn't by how many people called in, but hence how much money you called in to donate, right? Luckily, we escaped the Twin Dilemma. All right. So, yeah. There you are. So I think it's fun for me to go back and read some of these things and knock them out for you folks as a part of that. Even it was my passion growing up. Whereas most people were more like He-Man or G.I. Joe and that sort of thing. This is my passion growing up. Alrighty. So this is a 4-part episode. It's set at after the chase. Before the chase is also a 4-parter. The Space Museum rather. Those two are felt to be safe budgets to help reduce the cost of the chase, which is the third. And appearance of the dogs, because the director there tended to go a bit over budget and so forth. So it was set in the past. We also get introduced to the new companion in this story for a full story. He joined at the end of the previous one, but we don't know whether he survives. But now, in the beginning of this story, he actually will survive. So it stars William Hartnell. Again, it's my favorite Doctor. He's the classic one. The first Doctor, he's so strong, so influential. Great. It was the part of a lifetime, and I think he's definitely put Doctor Who on my map in such a major way. His companion at the time that he was inheriting was Vicky, who was an orphan from the future. She's played by Maureen O'Brien. Peter Purvis stars as the new crashed astronaut companion, Stephen Tyler, that we mentioned earlier, starring as the big bad meddling monk, who's also a member of Doctor Who's species. The first one will encounter the Susan, and himself is Peter Butterworth, and he's from the Doctor Who planet. It's directed by Douglas Camfield, written by Dennis Spooner, and produced by Verity Lambert. She's also the first female and youngest producer at that time in BBC drama history. And in this serial, they arrive in the UK in 1066, a familiar time for people that care about those sorts of events, and they see major events unfold. There is somebody, the aforementioned Time Meddler, and a member of the Doctor's race, who, rather than wanting to restore and keep this history change, he wants to change history. So he's the big bad. Felt a lot. So this is the first of what we as Doctor Who fans would call pseudo-historicals. So basically the idea is it's set in the past on Earth. But it has a sci-fi feel. You would see this again with the Autons I'm sorry, not the Autons, the Sontarans and the Third Doctor, right? And that sort of a thing. So this is the first of those. It's pretty popular, and but it had less ratings in the Chase, but it's much better appearance than the Chase. To my mind. This love the ending of this uneven season at times, like the previous one, or the Romans, which I don't like that much either. But it has some great stuff too. So I'm giving this a 8 out of 10 for you folks. Now next, we'll move on back to movie serials. Now that I finish up the second season of the First Doctor for you folks. All right. So 8 out of 10 for you folks. That is the Time Meddler, and that sort of a thing from 65. All right. So there you are. So did you? So as I remember, like I mentioned before, this is a very time. I talk about the very, very strong this day on serials that did to the old forgotten storytelling genre that definitely filled up seats and theaters. For example, in the movies, they would regularly use the serials at the end, going into intermission, and then leaving the movie theaters in this longer day. You wouldn't just typically go for like one movie, and then some previews ahead of time, and then just watch a movie and go home. You typically watch a movie, a B movie, or selected. You go with all your whole community, your family, your local organizations, your schools, your bosses. Everybody would go, and they would see a few things, and that sort of a thing. And then they would have shorts like cartoons and newsreels and that sort of a thing, and then have the serials be the part that really sort of sold them and made them come back. So they wouldn't be talking, wow, have you seen that? They were talking about the serials. How's this person going to survive? How are they going to survive the cliffhangers, right? Get past that and that sort of thing. So that was how they were sort of done at the time. And that sort of thing. And there are some, like the previous mentioned Flash Gordon, that not only sold out, they actually brought in theaters that weren't typically showing serials, right? And that sort of a thing. So yeah, classic stuff, lots. All right. And then I also do older things from a lot of other things. Yesterday I did my top 10 music artists of all the time. I'll be doing my top 10 my albums next week. I also previously did my top 10 board games, my top 10 films of an independent nature, that sort of a thing. Also on Wednesday I do video game reviews. I just did my review of 2020's Crusader Kings 3. And then by paradox on Monday I do reviews of older RPGs and war games too. And I just finished up D3's Vault of Betrayal on Monday, and I'll be doing Q1's Queen of the Demon Web Pits, and that sort of a thing from that first edition of Dungeons and Dragons. The first 6 I finished up by Gary Gygax, but this next one will it's the finale of that. So we'll take a look at that too. And then on the other 3 days of the week, I do reviews of older things that I read, like novels or novellas or poems or short stories, that sort of thing. Lots. All right, so those 7 things are typically the things I like, and they're all older too. So if you like those older things and that sort of a thing, please do the YouTube stuff, and hit the subscribe button, the like button, the share with your friends so they'll watch it too, and then just watch. Those are the way key ways to subscribe to your channel. Then if you're feeling frisky, you can even hit the bell icon and be notified of those videos. Alrighty, and then if you like that stuff, you can it also comes from the channel's name. The channel is named The Worst Thing About New Books, which is a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? There's definitely some older stuff we might have forgotten about. Alrighty, so there you are. And so we've regularly stolen on the shoulders of drugs. Not in the new books are bad, right? But in our pursuit and of the new books, the new movies, new video games, right? We have forgotten they're standing on the shoulders of giants to read those giants, right? They're heavily influential on it today, like this. But few people have actually gone back and seen the Time Meddler, right? Other than maybe dedicated Doctor Who fans, right? That sort of thing. So there you are. Alrighty. So hope that helps and thucks. And then I just want to thank you so very, very much, for taking some time out of your day, just investing in watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, That's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.